to start our speaker series, everybody. Welcome to the White Rabbit and to Afterburnt 2.0. Last year, how this all happened was we wanted to bring the burners and burner-curious folks together here in the Rogue Valley in Southern Oregon. So we put a call-out form. It brought people together, and then we started the chat, and then we decided to meet weekly to do a decompression event, which is an event that usually happens 1 month or 2 months after the burn, to just bring back some of the magic that everyone experienced at Burning Man and to make new friends and to just celebrate. So we did that last year at Lithia Park on November 2nd, and it was a great experience. We had about an organizing team of about 10 people, and we saw 2,000 people show up at the park throughout the day, even though it was like cold and rainy. And this year we're doing it here at the White Rabbit from 12 to 5 p.m. in the plaza, 12 to 5 also, and this is like a family-friendly portion of the day. And then Shrooms Cafe from 4 p.m. to midnight, and then Cook's nightclub, which is part of Shrooms, from 10 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. So welcome. Woo! So my name is Sean Salami, and I have been living in Ashland for 4 or 5 years, and I've been going to Burning Man since 2011. And I actually worked for Burning Man Project a few years back, and I'm just going to give a talk, a little bit overview of what is Burning Man, what was the history, what are these principles, and what the culture is in general. So let's just get started. Basically, Burning Man was the idea of Larry Harvey, who actually was raised in Portland here in Oregon and moved to San Francisco, and in 1986 he had this idea to go build a man or a wooden structure that resembled a man and burn it on summer solstice in San Francisco at Baker Beach. Now, in San Francisco Bay Area, there were some groups burning effigies in the Bay Area at that time in the 80s, but one morning he just felt the inspiration to do that, and he contacted his buddy, a carpenter named Jerry James, and they built this 8-foot structure that you see here to the left, and they brought it down to the beach, and they burned it just after sunset. Well, as it was burning, people felt inspired by it who were on the beach. Some people started dancing around it. Someone was playing a tambourine. One person touched the hand of the man. And Larry Harvey felt inspired by it because it generated this community. Like this fire, this ritual of sorts had generated community. Larry Harvey was very philosophical, very deep into philosophy. He was reading an anthropology book about burning effigies across cultures and time, and so he felt inspired to bring it back again. So 1987, he brought back another one, and then in this photo here, 1988, there was more people coming. Apparently a columnist in the San Francisco Examiner let people know that a 30-foot man was being built and burned on the beach. So it attracted other alternative-minded folks in the Bay Area, including folks from this group called the Cacophony Society that would do pranky stuff in San Francisco, such as like dressing up as clowns and being on every bus stop, and a bus would go and a new clown would jump on at every stop until the whole bus was full of clowns. Or dressing up formally and having a formal dinner in a laundromat. Or like just doing shenanigans that made people like think a little different of stuff. So they got involved. Members of this group called the Suicide Club got involved, who were like urban explorers, scaling things like the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge, and having parties in underground bunkers from World War II, and just a lot of alternative folks that were getting together. So anyway, 1990, the man was going to be burnt in Baker Beach again for the 4th year, but the San Francisco Police Department said no because there was fire hazard warnings that year. So they're like, no, I'm sorry, you can't burn it. The Cacophony Society was having these zone trips at Black Rock Desert, which is in 2 hours north of Reno, and is 6 hours from San Francisco, and feels like another planet, a huge dry lake bed, and they said, why don't we burn the man there? There's not gonna be any problem burning a 30-foot sculpture there. So they did, and they decided to go there. They called it Zone Trip 4, Burning Man. And before they entered the desert, they drew this line in the sand into the dust. And this is a picture of the folks that burned that year, 1990. And they crossed this line and they said, everything will be different after we cross this line. And so there everybody is crossing, and this essentially was the beginning of Burning Man in the Black Rock Desert. And as things grew there, this photo here to the right here is the folks all together lifting the man, and this photo to the left here was the first center camp of the gathering. So this one is a little earlier. People came together, they had an amazing time there, and they kept doing it every year after that. And it switched from the solstice time to later August because I believe it goes sometimes it got really hot in July. But in center camp was a place for people to meet, and they had this banner that says no spectators, and that's what the Burning Man culture really was trying to do. They're like, don't just come here and just watch the man burn, but come here and participate, do whatever you want to do. If you want to, dress however you want to dress, if you want to, be as wild as you want, no one's telling you no. So that was kind of the ethos, was just no spectators, participate. And participation is one of Burning Man's principles. So that one has like hay bales and yeah. So this is an overview of Burning Man in the year 2000, but essentially what happened was around, I don't know the exact date, maybe 1998 or 9, they decided instead of having everyone scattered, they would create this grid, like a 3/4 circle, and center camp would be in the middle, the man would be right in the middle of that open area, and these are all camps. And this is the Black Rock Desert you can see here. So this is an aerial view of Burning Man in 2000. And
so there is a film also. There's a film also, but
do you want to play the film?
So yeah, sure. This is what what Camp BUI presents every year. Sir Lauren over here curates it, and it goes through our experience of each year. You can always find our camp, campbui.org, online and see all the years. So this is the front of our building. Okay, with a bunch of crazy people.
yeah. So I guess do you want me to give an overview about what a theme camp is? So basically, you're gonna go to Burning Man and it's like, what should I do? Like, what do I have to bring? And if you go alone and you bring your tent and you bring this 10 by 10 foot shade structure, that 10 foot by 10 foot shade structure is probably gonna get blown away. And your tent's gonna get blown and full of dust, and basically it's gonna be more challenging. If you go there in an RV, yeah, you're contained, but you're also alone, or maybe with your partner, and it's really fun to just burn and share the burn experience with other people.
It's called building a tribe.
Yeah.
We become a tribe.
So theme camps were kind of evolved. I think the first theme camp was called Christmas Camp, and Santa Claus gave out free stuff or something, but every camp has its own theme. Everybody kind of contributes a little bit. They put a little bit of money into the kitty that like everybody can share meals together, water, and then there's theme camp organizers that help facilitate water delivery or shade structure, really sturdy shade structure that everybody can live under. Whatever the offering is that the camp wants to bring. And theme camps could be as small as 5 people or 3 people to 300 plus. Yeah. So anyway, you can still camp solo. They call that free camping at Burning Man, or with your own friends. But being part of a theme camp makes it really fun, and you're gonna make a lot of new friends. And you know, you might be your first years, especially. You might be going through some pretty emotionally overwhelming experiences, and you have people there to talk to and process, and people will listen and probably give you some good advice too on like what you can do next or whatever. But Camp BUI, I'll let Steve or Rigger talk about. You want to talk about how your camp got started and what you guys do and everything?
Well, we have a group called the Olfarts, OLPHARTS, and we are the people that are Olfarts and like keep it going and make sure everything is right. And Sirloin was one of the originators over here in 2006, and it's been going since then. And so we run about 30 to 35 people per year, so we're not a really large camp. We're highly organized. We like queens and kings because we plan everything, and we try to, we do accomplish the criteria for being a theme camp, which is, if I can remember all this, it's on my computer, you see, which is
Something to give to the community, yeah?
yeah, it's about having a good front to the community, to be a welcoming thing, to participate, full participation, to follow all the 10 principles. And so we do that pretty effectively, very effectively. We have a 60 by 90 foot shade structure, which keeps us safe from the elements. We have it well strapped to the ground so it doesn't blow away 50-mile-an-hour winds.
That's how he got his name,
Yeah,
Rigger, because he's the one that tied it down.
I'm Rigger, but I'm going to go beyond that. I tie things.
Rigger ties things.
Yeah. Okay. And so we have a bunch of people that come back. People come from all over the world. We have a center here in Ashland and Medford and Ashland, and then we have Grass Valley people, Reno people, Bay Area people, Amsterdam people, all over the place. Sweden, Boston, whatever. Yeah. So we have an eclectic camp and a lot of interesting characters, and we all get along famously.
And you gift also pineapple upside down cake, yes?
Right, so that's the thing about a theme camp is ultimate participation. And so we participate in many ways. I got a whole list of things that we do, and we make sure we interact with the community. We have a very welcoming, open place where anybody can come and enjoy and sit, and if it's too hot or whatever, we make pineapple upside down cake and serve like about 300 to 400 people on Thursdays.
What, do you have an oven there that's powered?
Everything, thank you, everything is done in Dutch ovens in our camp. So there's that. And yeah, anyway.
We made 26 cakes.
26 cakes were made this year, all consumed. Yeah. And so we have an outdoor kitchen with running water. We have showers, a shower, and ice is managed, and we have probably about 15 or 20 different roles that people need to do to participate in the camp, and it all gets arranged ahead of time or on the fly, and we just make it happen.
And what are the camp dues, if you don't mind me asking? Is it
It's
sliding
pretty
scale?
cheap. It's 110. We just raised it.
That's pretty good. And I think I'm gonna join your camp next year. So
I think we might take you.
I run my own camp for like 10 years, and you know it's a job and it's a chore. It's a labor of love, and you give a lot. But it's nice to be able to give people the chance to, especially first timers, to give them a chance to have a safe place, a place to connect with others. You also have the ability to socially curate this group of people that in a way, I feel like it's my art. It's like, if I put all these people together, how's this gonna happen? Now all these people became friends, and they're friends with you. So, but it can be a lot of work, as Sirloin here and Rigger knows.
Yeah, and it's a safe place for new folks. And so it's like a tribe, and so we're here together, and all of us are going to support you because we love you.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about things?
One remark is I went by their camp this year, and it's very welcoming. I even got a slice of cake and offered some water, and it was everything he just described it as.
There we go.
Come to Shrooms at 4. We have pineapple upside down cake.
Okay, Shrooms at 4 for pineapple upside down cake, which is our Thursday gift.
Yeah. Camp BUI is a nice camp. They're cooking really good meals too. I mean, to think about meals is like, I'll talk about meals a little bit. Is first off, you got to bring your own food in, right? Well, that's a lot, and you have to refrigerate it. Well, how are you going to refrigerate it? If you bring in perishable food, you have to have power. You have to have a generator or solar or something, right? So, anyway.
And the only thing you can buy at Burning Man is ice these days.
Yeah. So, you don't want to bring raw chicken necessarily to Burning Man, and keep it in a cooler and but you have to think about these things. But a theme camp usually has a kitchen. They could be offering dinners. Our camp offers theirs. And what I did these last couple of years was, and what a lot of camps do, is we'll pre-cook the meals. And this last 2 years, we pre-cooked here at Ashland. We pre-cooked meals like Thai yellow curry, vegetarian chili, vegetarian jambalaya, or like a beef vegetable stew. Pre-cook it all for 60 people, and then vacuum seal it and freeze it. And then all you got to do on the playa is keep it frozen in freezers, connect it to a generator, and then just take it out, put it in a pot of boiling water, boil it for 10 minutes, and you got hot food ready for 60 people. And there's minimal mess also. So that's a little playa hack that's developed. Some camps though, like BUI, cook things like, what is it? Didn't you guys do prime rib or? What do you guys do?
Yeah, we will have.
Tri-tip.
We will have 3 entrees per evening. One would be vegetarian, vegan. Then everything is arranged ahead of time. Everybody has to sign up for a job, and I track them down if they don't.
Yeah.
And so everybody does their job, and we do great, including all the cleanup jobs. So we're an organized tribe, I guess.
Yeah. Is your mic working?
Yes. Is that working?
Yeah.
I gotta fix it this one. There we go. I feel like Frank Sinatra. Well, I can't identify with this game. By the way, my name is Cosmos for today, but on the playa, I'm Abo, short for Aborigine. When I get out there, I run around naked, and I get all tan before I go, so I can do that without sunburning, and by the time I've been out in it all day, running around barefoot, and I'm covered with playa dust, I look like I live out there. So I start that story with people. Well, wow, look at you. I say, oh, I live over that canyon over there in those mountains.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. And ad lib from there. So it was fun. So here I'm a Cosmos, but I can just comment on a completely different angle for theme camps. I've gone to Burning Man since 1999. I've been there 11 times. And I got involved with a kind of different theme camp called Feed the Artists. You ever heard of them?
Oh, yeah.
Feed the Artists? Right, well, I got involved from day one with them, with our coordinator who comes out of Atlanta, has named himself Colonel Angus. Well, anyways, he decided that somebody needed to express gratification to all the people that work on the mega playa projects that are huge. The construction crews that are out there working for weeks, possibly a month before the public ever comes in. And I mean, these are steel workers with cranes and tons of wood that gets fabricated and built into all kinds of marvelous structures. So what Colonel Angus decided he wanted to do was organize a group that would acknowledge the labor that all these people put in before it opens. So we organized Feed the Artists. And he bumped into me when he saw an ad that I was running in Mount Shasta for my slideshow, came to my house and called me up and said, Mark, can you come for 2 weeks? I said, well, let me ask my wife. She said, well, I guess so. So that was fantastic. I coordinated with him. He flew from Atlanta to Los Angeles, rented a motorhome with his girlfriend, drove up to the playa. I met him there, and we set up our camp, big parachute, had all the other volunteers. We started setting up 8 days before the playa would open on that Saturday. So we were in the week before, had to pitch our tent, and then for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night, we had gourmet meals for crews that were working the big projects that would be pretty much exhausted by about 5 o'clock, and we would just tell them, put your tools down and just come on over. But this was coordinated with their leaders, so they knew this was going to happen. This was all set up in advance. And sure enough, we'd get 2-3 different crews, up to 70 people we're ready to feed. All the food is donated. We have a big kitchen. The one kitchen that we used came in a tractor trailer that somebody had customized, completely gutted it, used the frame, and then turned the sides into hinged roof that would go up. And some more plastic platforms would fold out for floors, and then walls. It would be a huge kitchen with all the cooking stoves and washing basins and things all stored in the center, all packed in. We had to spread it all out. And the food would come in a separate refrigerated truck. When these people showed up, the workers at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, first thing they got was a sponge bath and a massage. And we treated them through the parlor. Then they could come in and sit down, cocktails, drinks, whatever they wanted. They got waited on. They just had to sit there and let us love on them. It was fantastic to have the crew work that way. Now, I was the senior kitchen bitch for our French chef who came up with all the original recipes. So that was fantastic for me to work with him. And I still have my old grungy beat up apron that says feed the artist, and it's got years of wear and tear on it. I'll never get rid of it. I could put it out in the backyard and stuff would start to grow on it. The thing that I want to mention about this is that all of that took place before the public even got there. So when the Burn at that time was opening on Saturdays, Friday night, we were done. But we had the whole rest of the week to go have fun on our own and stay in our camp. So I'll tell you what, I got some suggestions for you. If you can figure out a theme camp that has to get in early to set up, see if you can do it. Now, if you're a virgin burner, if you haven't even been there yet, that could put you on overwhelm. But if you're willing to go out there, the best deal is to get on a setup crew, because then you get to know all the other camps because you watch them set up, and you can have all this wonderful experience and make all these contacts. The other thing is, I suggest you stay 2 or 3 days after the close of the burn. It's what I call the apocalypse. Does anybody here like stay through Monday? Yes. Well, you understand what I'm saying when I say apocalypse? It is bananas. Most of the lighting is gone, and almost all the landmarks are. All the street signs are gone for souvenirs. So you end up, if you're walking around at night, you better know where the hell you're going, because you can't tell anymore where you are, but it is so different. Everybody pulls together. There's ground fires all scattered around. People bring in what's left of their drinks and their food and just sitting around in the black, having a great time in the apocalypse. So go early, see if you get on a crew and volunteer, get in early, and then stay late, and you'll have a blast.
Right on, thank you. You can go off if you want, yeah, sure.
Maybe this is a good opportunity to find someone nearby, maybe your neighbor, and share a moment when you were deeply impacted and inspired by a creative community. If you've been to the playa, a theme camp, if you haven't, some other kind of community you've found, a moment maybe where your connection and shared identity with the group was more important than your individual identity. And just take a few minutes.
Stage exit left here.
Thank you.
Okay, I got one thing I'd like to put in.
Okay.
Because as much as we stay to our tribes and our theme camps, we also expand into the greater community, right?
Yeah.
And so in our camp, we have, and this is pictures from our camp, that's on the way. Okay, in our camp, we have about 9 ranger people that participate outside of our little camp in the bigger society. We have temple guardians. We have, I do the man watch team. I'm a man watch lead. We have greeters that sit out at the gate and welcome the new people into the city. And I'm sure there's many others. But so what I see happening with our camp is we're moving out of our insular situation into a more larger community of the whole city, right? So that's what's going on for us. There you go, Exodus. Oh, entry.
Yeah.
So
no,
participating in the larger community is a big thing.
Yeah. I felt inspired to help with the theme camp. My first year was a free camp with 15 people in 2011. But I felt inspired to help with a theme camp the next year, which was the couch surfing camp called Couch Burners Camp. It started in 2008, and the lead was like, I'm not going to go this year, I'm going to hike the PCT. And I said, who's going to lead the camp? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, I'll just do it. And so me and a couple other people did it, and we had 150 people. We only had an open kitchen for people. We didn't charge much, but I helped lead that camp.
This is initiation.
Yeah, initiation.
When you get to the gate.
Do you want sound?
Sure, we could put some up. I started Global Camp in 2018 as a camp for internationals, because what I realized was internationals were coming more to Burning Man, but they weren't really being supported and they didn't know how to get to camps. And so I created one that just had like more of that international hostel vibe. And I put a post out to Facebook or to some classified groups out there for anyone looking for that. And we've been going for 7 years, and we gift out morning or daytime offerings like coffee or sexy breakfast was one of them. And this last year we did like a cucumber wellness lounge, and we had nations from about 25 plus nations represented. And it's always a good time. So that's what our camp does. But at Burning Man, that you can see here, there's all sorts of shade structures.
That's our camp.
There's BUI with their shade structure, but there's all sorts of theme camps that offer all sorts of things. You just walk the city and you'll see and participate. This is a 40-minute video, right, Steve?
How long?
43.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you can stop.
Math camp.
That's next door to us.
Which what do they do at 3:14 every day?
At 3:14 they give out pie.
There you go. And these guys, you guys are neighbor to them, right? So you get the pie every day, and yeah.
Here's last year.
I went into the pie camp this year, and I saw they had a jukebox with all these cool curated songs. It's like a jukebox this year that you just push. It's like, and not your typical jukebox music. It was fun. Do we want to open up for questions and answers? Anyone have a question in the audience?
Or if you just enjoy watching this crazy film, it can keep running.
Yeah, so
It's too long.
you can see how rigged up this camp is. There's ratchet straps and there's electrical and rigger here, and you help make sure that's good. Look, there's some.
This is the kitchen. That's our kitchen.
This is a pretty elaborate.
That's my
I'm
tent.
pretty impressed with the Camp BUI's structure, rigging. You guys customize stuff too, and tools, it seems like. This is a dust storm.
Can I sneak in a comment on here?
Yeah.
We're looking at a modest whiteout right here.
So modest.
Yeah, they get heavier.
The
But
dust had already blown
I think that the most terrifying experience I ever have on the playa was if you get caught in a whiteout at night. When you're out on the playa riding your bike around or walking or something, and the lights you can't see because they're gone, and then you stand there and say, hell, I can't even don't know which way is northeast, south, or west.
That's the worst right there.
Yeah, there you go. So have fun on the whiteouts at night. Keep your bearings.
So yeah, I guess we could kind of close out here in a minute, but I think if you're looking for a theme camp, all the theme camps are listed on burningman.org from the previous years. Not all theme camps bring in new members, but you can find out their information, what they're about, and message them, email them if you're interested to participate with their camp. Usually earlier the better, so I'd recommend as early as January or February of the year that you want to go to Burning Man. And my theme camp, we start meeting as a camp in February monthly until August, and we get everyone acculturated on board, connecting with each other, so that by the time we're on Playa, we know each other, we know what the solution is to the problems that might arise that week, we know what to do, and so yeah. Camp BUI, you guys have your own website too, right?
Yes.
CampBUI.
CampBUI.org.
So that's a local one here, and you guys are accepting new members, right, for next year or no?
Well, that's the whole process of the theme camp. That's coming down in January.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be there.
You'll be there. Yeah. All right.
All right, y'all, what's up? Hey, Dina. Girl. Hi, I'm Carol Youngblood, and I'm your schmoozing and perusing angel for today. I wanted to do a little activity because y'all been sitting for a minute. Y'all ready for this? All right. Okay, so first we're going to start with the wave. All right? We're going to start with the wave. Everybody's done the wave before? Yeah. Okay, come on, y'all. I need everybody's participation. Woo! Yeah, you're stoked. All right, let's go. All right, Sean, we're going to start with you. Salami, you ready? We're going to do the wave. Okay? All right, we're starting on this side. As many hands in the air. And then we're going to go over here. And then we're going to come back. Right? And then we're going to do it again. You guys ready for this? Come on. You've done this before. All right, ready? Over here. Ready? 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 And then back, and then back. Yeah, okay, a little bit louder this time, all right? One more time, and then I have one more fun thing. Okay, ready? And back, and back, and back, woo! Okay, awesome. All right, good job, guys. Have you all heard about Joe? Joe, he works at a button factory? No? Of course Aurora knows. Okay, all right, so Joe, all right, hi. Okay, this requires your participation, okay? Gets you out of your seats. Y'all ready for this? All right, stand up. Aren't you grateful that you have 2 functioning legs right now? Yeah. So grateful. All right, here we go. All right, hi. My name is Joe. I've got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said no. He said, turn that button with your left hand. All right, guys, come on. Let's turn that button with your left hand. Hi, my name is Joe. I got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said no. He said, turn that button with your right hand. Hi, my name is Joe. I got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said no. He said, turn that button with your left foot. Hi, my name's Joe. I got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said no. He said, turn that button with your right foot. Hi, my name is Joe. I got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said no. He said, turn that button with your face. Hi, my name is Joe. I got a wife and 3 kids, and I work at a button factory. One day, my boss came to me and said, Joe, are you busy? I said, yes! All right, good job, y'all.
Shrooms Cafe open from 4 p.m. To 8 p.m., which is a free portion of the time, and then 8 p.m. to 2:30 in the morning is a paid portion. Music, art, shenanigans, fire performance, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the Will Dodge Way alley behind Shrooms, and also Cooks, which was formerly Trapdoor. The Vinyl Club will also be having music going, so come play with us, come make some friends. My name is Sean Salami, and we're happy to host this panel with Will Berge, Atlas Newman, and Will Nichols, all involved with art installations here, so please welcome our esteemed panel. Slow clap, thank you very much. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we could start off going with just everyone giving a little bit about yourself and what projects you worked on and art installations at BurnerWeen. And there's one mic here to pass around, you guys.
Okay. I'm happy to go. My name is Will, also go by Easy Tiger. This year I worked on the Afterlife project at Burning Man. I don't know if you saw it. It's
in there.
Oh yeah.
In there from Sean.
Oh no way. This is my first time working on an art project. I was on the playa for 21 days. It was an honorary piece of art. And we spent probably 3 months building it in San Francisco beforehand, before bringing it out to Empire. And it was transformative, to say the very least.
Thank you.
So my name is Atlas. I have worked on a lot of art projects, more recently and more concentrated with a nonprofit based out of Puerto Rico called Community Through Colors. They sponsor multiple artists, also of Puerto Rican heritage, but we tend to just help with a lot of projects that need the beautiful art of harnessing the sun to power their structures. So I've worked on Atabase Treasure, which is the fish that was coming out of the earth at the classic Mudman year. And we did Koki as well. We did Petire, which was the rideable bird this year, but we've also helped with the art of Mark Rivera, who is known as Kinetic. He was the one that did the man base. He did the Hibardo Soy and the habitat, the giant heart that was beating and had all the barrios built into it. And then also the astronauts this year. So kind of worked. I've also worked with artists out of Hawaii doing their structures as well. So a lot of art and a lot of fun.
So Atlas and I work on the same team. She joined our crew here recently in the last couple of years, and so I've worked on the same projects. We also, through Community Through Colors, helped Thomas with the lighting and the solar on the troll this year. Got trapped in a whiteout for 3 hours on that site, and the semi almost blew over. So, yeah. Never boring.
Right on. Well, yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about some of these installations? And I guess, yeah, Will, you want to start with who was the artist for Afterlife? What did the build process sort of look like? You were in Oakland, right? Pre-building?
Yeah, in San Francisco.
On weekends, or was it every day?
I was there 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. So the artist is this incredible guy named Blitzy. He is from Malaysia. The origin story of Afterlife is maybe 2020. This is something that he relayed to me. He had a out-of-body experience at the temple shortly after his grandmother passed, and went up to heaven with his grandmother, and he described it as being neon colored, extremely bright, and he wanted to come back to the burn and recreate that. And it took him 2 years to do so. They built it in 2022. This is the 2025 version. The 2022 version was a lot smaller than this. The build that we did was 150 by 150 square feet and 35 feet tall. And so I think it's just going to continue to grow. I don't know if you have some of the photos of what happened after the storm, Sean. Yeah, so the storm completely decimated the project. We had a very intense, very tearful moment when we came to the site after the storm. Blitzy put so much of his own time, so much of his own money into this project, and we were all looking to him saying, what do we do now? And in his classic fashion, he just went, it's going to be different now. It's going to be a ruined temple, which it ended up being, and it was one of the more successful years, that he's done it. He's built honorary art a couple of times. We had the ass party at Afterlife. That's Art Support Services, for folks who don't know. We had the DPW closing party, which is a pretty big honor. And then we had 24 weddings take place at Afterlife this year. So it was a real, I think, impactful thing for a lot of folks. There it is in the storm, pretty ravaged by it, but the main structure stayed intact. It was a test of patience. It was a test of letting go, and I think this was discussed early in the what is Burning Man thing. If you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. I don't think it would have been the same if we hadn't had that experience of having to rebuild. It brought us together as a unit so much closer than if everything had been perfect. That was a part of the project for all of us.
So I'm just curious too, because you had a lot of flags and everything here. Were these blown away? Did you have extras?
We had people for a full week after this happened bringing us stuff from all over the playa, going, I think this belongs to you. This neon colored, wind chime or whatever. There was some of it that was blown to the trash fence. There was some of it that other artists were picking up for us. So we had just this pile of scrap wood that was all torn apart. And I will say, this temple was built to survive pretty strong winds. The windstorm that we had, what was it, Saturday?
Yeah.
For 3 hours. So, we got boned, but a lot of people got far, far worse. There were projects that did not, the balloon.
The cloud.
The cloud, yeah.
But they recreated it, because that's what you do.
Oh, that was so beautiful, yeah. One of the big art pieces was a giant inflatable black cloud that was completely unsalvageable. But they took the material, what did it say?
There is nothing, or this?
No fate?
No fate is what it said. They took the material, hung it up on a clothesline, and it said no fate. That, to me, is the essence of Burning Man. It is art from adversity. You could build art anywhere, but there's something incredible about the harsh conditions doing it out here. Just in terms of the build itself, during build week, we were up at probably 6 a.m., working from 7 to maybe 1. Through the hottest part of the day, we sort of went back and chilled. This is just, your typical siesta time. We got to have a little break, and then we went back and worked maybe 6 p.m. to midnight on the thing. So it was a pretty rigorous schedule, but again, this is where I made so many connections with my brothers and sisters on this project. I refer to it as Pledge Week. Nothing will bond you to people than having to go through the shit with these people. And so it was really, really magical.
Right on. Well, Atlas and Will, how was the storm for your guys' art project this year? And your crew. Do you want me to pull up, how do you say it? Pitere? Pitere. Which was a bird that was launching into the sky, yeah?
Yeah, it did an entire simulated launch experience, so it was very NASA inspired. So you sat on it, it went through a full countdown and launch sequence, and then the launch, and then as you reached outer space, it changed to a very peaceful, tranquilo, like if you closed your eyes, it felt like you were properly on a journey. So we worked with Juan Pablo on this, and he was a two-dimensional artist, but through Nino Alicia and our organization, we were able to create a 3D sculpture out of his 2D vision. It was a very collaborative process. It was a lot of fun. We had to come up with a lot of new techniques because we typically build in steel and wood, and a lot of this was 3D printed CNC foam in order to get the structure and the rigidity with a steel frame. So it was very resilient through the storm. It was not very resilient to burners. People went full cowboy on it, and those rains are LED, and they got damaged a couple times. So we had to do a few repairs to the saddle in the rains a couple times. We thought we had them burner proofed, but we had a learning experience. So
yeah.
There were a lot of kind messages from wayward burners who used the sculpture as cover during the whiteout.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of beautiful stories and messages from that. With our previous pieces, we had a lot of very profound experience shared with us, and we had weddings and we had the things, but the Tire just really seemed to spark joy in a lot of people. So that's my little 2 cents on that. Our camp, very different than our art. We had metal structures bent, literally touching the ground. I had to use the winch on my Jeep to pull things back into a state.
Wow.
And then we salvaged we turned it into a Frankenstein camp. We used what we could, and it all worked amazingly. We also took a 3-day break from the initial damage to the reconstruction, just because we saw it was just coming and coming. So
yeah,
and we only had so many pieces left to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you guys like to talk about another installation you guys done that we have a photo of here? Atabe or Koki?
Okay, so I kind of want to talk about Koki, which was the Frog 2024. And it was one of the pieces, like the piece we did this year, Petire. You could ride on top of it. Atabe was very much, that's the metal fish, that was very much a surrounding experience. We had a lot of weddings out there. But Koki was different. Koki was something where we had audio come through where you could hear the natural Koki sounds that would come through. We have one woman on our crew that we call Auntie Zhuzh, because she likes to zhuzh some places, and her and a few of our other crew members brought the Puerto Rican rainforest to the playa, and we had people that were literally head over heels in love with having that inside space where you could have like really like beautiful moments that it was very much like the theme camp panel was talking about. There's couches and there's comfy places where you're probably gonna fall asleep. You might fall in love. And Koki, the inside of it, definitely held that. But also like when the crew came together, right when everything was done. And I mean like I was like face down in the dirt doing electrical on the toes. Will was doing everything that was high above his head, like the classic, you're using your tools kind of situation. But when we're all done and dusting ourselves off, we all step inside. And it was like the end of a NASCAR F1 race. We're shaking bottles of champagne, having all of the fun. And everybody's almost in tears because we know how much went into that build. And that's probably like one of the things whenever people talk to me about the Burn, they're like, oh, it's that festival. And I'm like, it's so much less, in my opinion, about the music than it is about the art. The art is the thing that makes the burn what it is. And maybe I'm biased because we both work with a nonprofit, but like it is about community voices being translated into color, into visions, into experiences, and that's what that experiential experiment that is the burn is made of. And I think that Koki really held that. I mean, we were up at 6 a.m. some mornings making the very festive coquito drink that is the Puerto Rican eggnog, rum included. It was fantastic. And yeah, would highly recommend 10 out of 10. And then, you know, as the artists were building it and stuff, there were those moments where he's like, nobody's supposed to climb on it. And then the night of the man burn, you hear creaking over your head and you're like, well, there's Nino, the artist, climbing the fog. Like, it's the spaces where art comes alive. The art of a team coming together, tapping on people that you would have never known. Like before I was brought on the team, I was getting phone calls of like, what would you do in this situation? We need to figure out what we're doing with the throat, this and that. And when it's like stepping back and you see the whole image come together, it's the same as stepping back and getting to brush shoulders with your crew. Like that is the art experience in my opinion. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, just to expand on that, the Koki year, we were also selected to put art in the man base. So we did the feature headroom, the Alice in Wonderland theme room with the giant chair and all the rabbits on the walls with the black and white checkers.
Okay.
So, and this is part of the small world and wanting to get Southern Oregon burners together, because when we were working on this, we finally get it completed, we do a walkthrough of it, we step out, we're literally right under the man, and this little bird flies up and starts playing around. And this lovely, lovely ranger comes over and we have this wonderful conversation.
Not a ranger, I'm not
Excuse me.
a man watch.
Man Watch. A gentleman from Man Watch. And the reason that this gentleman from Man Watch knows it so well is because he was that gentleman.
Yeah.
And I didn't meet him here in town until almost a year later.
Yep.
So it is a very small world out there, and we always find something to do. And if we aren't building our art, we're helping other artists with their art. And it's a very happy place to be.
So we're kind of on the challenge portion a little bit of it. I'm curious, like, yeah, what other challenges, say you come up from the design phase to the building phase, the transportation, logistics side, to the playa storms and whatever. I mean, I'm curious for anyone on the panel, like, what challenge can you mention that came up for your crew and how you guys brought a solution to it and all of that?
Okay, so if I was not clear earlier, we are working with artists in Puerto Rico. Distance is a thing. Language is a thing. And it's also budgets and dreams. And this year we took a pointillism, two-dimensional artist and introduced him into 3D sculpting. He still did his pointillism style painting on the entire bird, but it's like the challenge of melding ideas and breaching into realms of unknown territory with enough confidence to know that even when it's untreaded territory, you're still gonna make it to where you wanna go. And I got to do an interview with Juan del Pueblo, who is the artist of this year's Pitire, and he said, he's like, that was the one thing that truly made bringing the art, it's supposed to be there to transform you guys, he's like, that's what made it transformative for me. Is like facing all these challenges, especially in 2025, and the concept of funding art being so challenging and not doing the typical way that we had done it, which was like repurposed like palettes and stuff like that. Like it was a challenge, and we still made it that, you know, beacon for some of the burners that needed a place to cover in the windstorms, or these amazing experiences for little kids climbing up onto the saddle. Like the challenges presented themselves. There were many of them, and we dealt with time zones and language barriers, but it came out to being the thing that was transformative for everyone. Do you have any?
Yeah. Happy to go. You know, this is kind of reiterating what you're saying about budgets, but I think that was the biggest issue for us. As a piece of honorary art, the Afterlife received a not insubstantial grant from the org, but the majority of the cost is footed by the artist, and your responsibility is to do all the fundraising yourself. If you look at the art piece here, we have about, 15 tons of lumber. Every inch, every surface is painted with at least 3 coats of extremely expensive blacklight reactive paint. This is not a small thing, and so fundraising becomes as important as the art project itself. I know we had a number of fundraisers where we did not meet our goals, and costs keep on rising as things come up. And so, aside from the storm, obviously, that's the big one, with the budgeting, the finances, and the fundraising, I would say was the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. Fundraising is absolutely my least favorite part of this, and then that turns into all the conversations around decommodification and all of these things. But as was said, you receive an honoraria grant, and although it may be substantial, to actually get these pieces completed is usually far beyond what that grant is. And then it's on us to go reach out and try to find that money. Well, we're also very busy building the thing and doing life because we don't do this as a full-time job. So reaching out to those networks, reaching out to those communities, having those conversations, I find to be the most challenging bit. Other than that, it's really the core communication with the team. I've absolutely heard horror stories of people going through and having these massive visions and not being able to execute. I've seen it on Playa where people have brought things and tried to put them together and it didn't work. Having the right crew, having a community that you can work with, that you can collaborate with, that you can problem solve with is a game changer, because even if you don't have your budget, even if you don't have all the tools, you will figure it out and put something together that's gonna make somebody cry. And it's really amazing when you've got the right humans around you. That's my favorite piece of doing any of this.
And what I do have to say, this is where I came up with the term freestyle engineer, because when you have a crew of people and we have nothing, it's like MacGyver. It's like you got a tic tac, a paper clip, and a rubber band, and I will make a jet engine. Like, we literally, when you are the right kind of freestyle engineer, this is why the crew makes everything come together, and you can truly feel what the art is about, because we make something out of nothing sometimes. Not always, but you can start when you start paying attention to the details. Like, the crew really kind of brings the personality through.
So we have this slide up here, and I believe this is the same artist or artist group. And Atlas, were you affiliated with this artist? Or?
So this is Mark Rivera. He's known as Kidnetic. Kidnetic, his first piece was Hibaro Soy, which is the one furthest on y'all's right side. This one we actually helped work with the solar associated with the machete handles that was supposed to be able to move his machetes. But as much as we come with hardware, solar panels, electrical knowledge to like an engineering level, we couldn't make that one work, but we were able to bring the lights on with it. Habitat is the heart. This is another one that we were able to help with a little bit more of the power association with it. And again, the astronauts Un Camino Nuevo this year. This is like the random days of storms this year. We walk to a bar right next to us and we see Mark walking up, and he's like all the way on the other side of the playa, and he's walking up and he's like, can I get some help? And we literally, crushed the tecates we're drinking. We put on our hats, we put on our boots, and we go out and we're like, all right, let's go, let's do it. And so he's one of the artists. He was in the grand world of honoraria grants. Oftentimes it's hard to do the paperwork to get the grant. It is always worth pursuing your dream to bring art to the burn. To do the paperwork to get the grant sometimes can be a little confusing for people. So our main artist that we work with, El Nino, he has sponsored multiple people. Mark is one of the artists that he sponsored to bring Hibaro Soy and kind of like helped him navigate the grant stuff. And now he's been doing art in Puerto Rico, street art, repurposed art for years. It's not like Nino was the one that brought his art to life, but he helped him bring his art to the playa. And it brought it to the global stage where this year, Mark Rivera, Kinetic, was the one who actually got to build the man base for all of us to see, not just like a, hey, did you see that one art piece? It's like everybody knows where the man is, and he was the artist that got to build it. So
he did the man base and his
Camino, Un Camino Nuevo. Wow. And you'll notice in his art, this is something that I love, is like in the details you see the meanings. He's got barrios in every single one of his pieces. So the astronauts, in looking at the new way, their home is in their life pack. The Hibaro Soy, the worker, he's the one that's protecting his barrio. And it's pretty obvious. The heart, it's made of your neighborhood. It's made of your roots. So.
Well, and the heart had Habitat had a necklace that you could wear on that actually detected your heartbeat, and the lights and the sound of the beating hearts would sync to your heart. That's in my kitchen. It's hanging there, but that's the piece that syncs the beating heart. So,
oh wow!
And both the astronauts and the heart were at the Oakland decompression. So.
Right, and the astronauts too. They had some visuals in the helmets, right? Yeah.
Visuals in the helmets, and then a message to ICE written all over it.
Oh, very subtle.
Super subtle.
And this one, what is this one called?
Hibaro Soy.
And that's installed in downtown Reno now, right? Yeah. Is any of your art installations that you've worked on currently installed beyond Black Rock?
Actually, it's funny you ask. So just recently, 2 of the art pieces that were created by Nino Alicia, Atabey's Treasure, so the big fish, and then also one of his original pieces, which was called Got Framed, were both installed in San Francisco, I believe at the Embarcadero, and it's already become very popular with like skaters and stuff skating through the giant frame. And it's got some very beautiful like visual art that people are making videos with each one, and just also getting to see the artist himself experience his art, getting to live somewhere off playa is something that has become its own like treat in the whole experience of bringing art to the playas, also getting it to bring it elsewhere off the playa.
Right on. Are there any questions from the crowd we want to maybe bring to our artists and art crews here?
Habitat. I was walking with my friend in the middle of downtown Sebastopol, and I saw it, and I don't recall seeing it on the burn, but I instantly was like, that's a Burning Man piece of art. Yep. What is it doing here? Because it was behind like a fence and it is the same piece, right?
No, it absolutely is the same piece. Mark has multiple pieces. He's probably like personally one of the artists that I've seen personally that has done the best in disseminating their art throughout the world, because he also has a second set of astronauts that are like more crouched, and those are actually in Puerto Rico specifically. Habitat has been moved into multiple locations and has been put on display. He also still does the heartbeat. He doesn't do that at every event that it is at. But if it is worth him making sure that you get to experience it heart to heart, he does incorporate the RDFI chip, I believe is what it is. But his stuff is in multiple places. I do believe Hibaro Soy also lives permanently in San Juan right now.
I was just gonna pull up the mark. Oh, here's a. So this is Koki the frog. So you guys transported on this school bus that's chopped?
It's a Franken bus. It's a steak bed.
Boris builds the massive firework.
Yeah.
So, our good buddy Boris, who is part of our team, because something we haven't covered is it takes a lot of support to get these done. So we have our Parliament Art Crew camp, but we're supported by an art hub, which Burning Man has created in the last couple of years, which is a much larger camp with a larger pool of resources that help support artists and art support crews actually get these things done. And the nonprofits that we work with, there's other artists in the group as well. So Boris builds giant, beautiful fire art. It's in most of the West Coast festivals. It's been all over. It's at EDC. He wants to bring art up here to Ashland, but we need to work with the city to make that happen. A lot of these artists want their art to exist in the world. And a huge fundamental of Burning Man is to bring Burning Man home with you. So we're trying. So yeah, Boris's steak bed is one of my favorite things out there. He can daily drive that thing and live in it and tote giant art. So goals.
So if we wanted to bring art and temporarily install it in this area, we could possibly have the help of Boris to bring it here?
Boris was on standby. I had already spoken to Boris about doing that, and he was like, you just tell me when and where. He's already got pieces lined up that are very like township like available and ready. It's not like the boom boom fire stuff, because he's worked with El Pupo before, like Mechanico and Magnifico, which are very fire oriented, which it's not always that. Like sometimes it's just the beauty of the art, and he's like, I've got like 3 pieces that are easy to install, easy to transport, and just waiting on you saying yes, no fire included. So, yes.
Yeah, I remember last year when we worked with Afterburn, the deputy director for Ashland Parks and Rec said they would be open to the idea of having temporary art installed in Lithia Park or any of the 23 parks here in Ashland. So maybe we just continue the conversation.
Burning Man takeover. There you go.
Any more questions from our audience for our panel about art installations and building and...
What's your art looking like for next year? Do you have any plans already?
No comment.
Any art installations planned for next year?
So, to take the long way there, in 2023, we were out there building. We were exhausted. We were slightly behind schedule, and this beautiful, dusty face walked out of nowhere and asked if he could help. He is now our lead engineer, and he has submitted an honorary grant request. He has a beautiful vision for a piece that we can't really talk about right now. I think he's going to have a good chance of being selected. So as of right now, the primary focus is supporting him if he is selected. Even if he's not selected, he's the kind of guy that's going to find a way to bring it out there. So for now, the focus is supporting him in any way we can. There's also a couple other projects we can lean in on, but we can't really dive into those too deep as the honorary selection process is going through. And so to be determined, but absolutely will continue to participate, not just with ours, but in multiple spaces.
If I was a virgin burner or a second year burner, how would I get involved in an art project?
Jump in there as somebody who is not an artist and who jumped into an art project because I met a guy at a party and asked him what he was doing with his life, and he showed me some pictures of Afterlife, and I was like, I want in. So there's that way. That was my way. But also a lot of art projects will be very desirous of volunteers. And they will have Facebook pages, Instagram pages, fundraising pages, where they'll be actively recruiting people. So it was really just a mishmash of people who said yes to the Afterlife. Not a lot of folks with technical backgrounds in construction or carpentry or anything else that the project needed. It was just people who said yes. And that would be my sort of closing message, that anybody can do it. I have no technical skills whatsoever. I was just handed whatever they needed, a hand saw or a bucket of paint or, some electrical wire and told this is what you got to do, go do it. I think a great artist and a great leader will delegate well, and they will have faith that the people can do what you tell them to do. And I would just say anybody can do it. That's my takeaway from my whole experience.
It's also a good time to shout out, it was already mentioned, ASK, Artist Support and Services, as well as Art Resources, which is just an actual local to the clock, a camp that's on Playa that is specifically devoted to providing resource support for other artists. And then there are all of the Facebook pages. You don't already have to know what the art piece you want to work for is named. You have the artist name, the location, and the piece name. You know, respect, and people would be happy to see your fingerprint on the work that they're bringing out there.
To the piece next door. So if you want to do it, show up and do it. I completely.
This is a great drink too. Playa Quencher. We didn't create this drink. You guys created this drink. Yeah, it looks like a Playa drink. Looks like it has some Playa dust in there, but we're drinking it anyway. So get one. It's really good. It has tequila in it.
Place where people mourn the loss of people they cared about, things in their life. It's an absolutely stunning place of reflection.
I think I was sitting in a hammock in Costa Rica, and Lady B reached out and said, "Hey, how would you feel about doing the temple?" And I couldn't get out of the hammock for about 2 hours. The crew members that we were able to pull together, and that in itself was its own amazing experience. I'll talk more about of what came after and how these human connections and human impacts.
Basically, that awareness in the Western space, can you dig into your thoughts on the temple and what its purpose is?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, when you do a project like that, people want to talk to you about it. And it so happened that the BBC was doing a documentary series called Around the World in 80 Religions, and this Anglican minister was traveling around the world filming interviews and doing kind of like, half-hour slots on like 2 or 3 different sort of religious practices, and it happened to be that he was doing one on that he decided that BurnerWeen Temple was important enough to include in that documentary series. And he had weird, Pentecostal folks down in the South, and he's like Egyptian Ra worshippers in LA, and like all these kind of like hoaxy, kind of like, culty, New Age sort of things. And I was really worried that, because I started watching the series, like, oh man, what's he gonna say about us, right? What's he gonna say about the BurnerWeen Temple? And this guy, he has a tremendous experience with, religions around the world. And when he got to us, I was just really touched by what he said. He said, "This may be the most authentic religious space that I've ever entered. Not religion in a way of like organized, but the ability for people to, I hate to use the word worship, but like the ability to have like a space where they can commune with something that's way larger than themselves." The temple, that David Best created the genesis of is so important, because when we try to grieve in this country, there's only so much, there's limited ways we can do that, and it's very straightforward, and it's industrialized, and it's commodified, and it's transactional, and you get through the things, and you deal with all the shit, and you pay a lot of money, and someone either goes into the ground, or you get a box of ashes at the end, and now go live your life. The temple is a way for us to process that in real time, whether someone has died, is dying, whether you're facing something that is a huge terror in your life, whether you're scared of something, whether you're trying to call something in. The temple has traditionally been a space where you can give both voice and physical manifestation to that, and then watch it get lifted into the sky. And that's just something we don't get to experience normally. And I think that's why when people come to the Playa, when they experience that, they realize it's been missing. And I think that's pretty common experience.
Yeah, the looks on people's faces when they roll up for the first time is always profound. Can you speak to the theme and the design of your build?
Yeah, so there's a few points there. One, Shrine has always built things out of sort of found objects, post-consumer materials. And so we're going to continue that and build things. So the temple itself, other than the structure, which was the physical structure, which was really made out of 44 untreated telephone poles, essentially trees that are they're turned into for a telephone pole shape, but not treated with creosote. Other than that, everything was post-consumer. So everything from bottle caps to crushed aluminum cubes from recyclers to pieces of cars to actually we recycled other ply installations from years previous that had burned but left maybe their structural supports. Other than the fasteners, we did all Japanese joinery, so there's no fasteners in the framing of it, but everything else was trash, and we decided to keep with that theme of doing that, and it's hard to describe what it is. You might want to get to the next picture so you can kind of see it, we really tried to use everything that had been discarded by society to create it.
That is a beautiful thing. So a lot of people show up at the Burn. I know that a lot of us, we love Build Week more than Burn Week. But for a lot of people who just show up for the Burn Week, it's not magic. There's a lot of hard work, planning, preparation that goes into this. Could you discuss a bit of your proposal and approval process working with what is now the org to get the project off the ground?
Yeah, seemed really shiny until you get into the negotiating room. So the temple is it's the second, at the time, the second most, I don't want to say prestigious, but largest, but there's bigger things, but the second most important, I guess I would say, installation out on the playa after the man. And it is, I kind of describe it as sort of the stepchild of the org because they fund it like they would any other installation, i.e. they give you money but not much logistical support other than DPW and heavy machinery crew know that the temple is absolutely essential to the success of the event, so you kind of get to call in whatever you need. And if I need a crane, it's going to be there within an hour, whereas my first year as an honorary artist, it was 2 days, you'll get a forklift. So they give you, when as the first crew that wasn't David Best, who has considerable resources to be able to throw towards the temple, they gave us, I think, $40,000. And it cost us at the end $125,000 to do. We didn't quite realize what we were in for. We thought, yeah, we could do it. And you have to remember, this is before, 2008 was before the days of GoFundMe or Kickstarter. There were no sort of crowdfunding platforms online at the time. And so we had, they came out a year later, and I wish we would have had it then. But we had to do essentially sort of PayPal donation sort of types of things. MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, which is really important for sort of psychedelic research nowadays, was our fiscal sponsor for the temple. And so we were allowed to raise money as a fiscally sponsored nonprofit project. We were lucky, the temple project is lucky in that there are so many folks who not only want to do it, can do it, are drawn to it because they've done it in the past, but people who actually emotionally need to do it. So we had people fly in from all around the world saying, I'll be there in 3 days and hopefully you can help me out with a place to stay. And we did it down at American Steel in Oakland, which was an amazing space that's no longer really functioning in that way. I think it's a 500,000 square foot facility, a steel facility that was pretty much dedicated to building and maintaining ply art. People gave us houses. They gave us a house in the Oakland ghetto. and other folks just kind of let us stay there. And so over the course, I think we started in, I want to say February or March. I moved down from Portland to live in Oakland, and people started coming in, and we started building the thing and planning the thing. And so for about 6 months, we were just on sort of pre-playa build, building all the different pieces of it that we would fully assemble for the first time on the playa. I don't know what else I can say about that, but again, the contract you signed was about that thick, and that really blew our minds when we realized what we were getting into.
Yeah, it's crazy how everybody thinks it's just completely free-for-all, no rules, but we definitely have to play in a box from time to time.
Insurance and engineering, that did not luckily exist in 08.
Right. Yeah, no, presenting designs for things that are freeform, it's definitely a challenge. You spoke about your 150 people coming in. We all know we can't do these projects alone. If you can talk a bit about like how your core team came together, and then all the people that were just naturally drawn to it, and then what came out of those relationships.
Yeah, so luckily I'd been in the in festival scene for a few years at that point, and had become familiar with a lot of folks who built stuff. It was a really joyous time in sort of the mid-aughts for folks to be coming together and doing wild shit. And new people who were, good carpenters, new folks who were could just do repetitive things, new folks who, could do trucking and do steel work, metal work, were artists in their own right. And once we kind of got it, it was the first time that an Oregon crew had ever gotten something like the temple. So there was a lot of coalescing around that idea of like, Oregon gets to do the temple and let's show them. And so up in Portland, I was able to cobble together some great folks. And actually, one of the first folks I brought on was an old college friend who is a master carpenter, built everything from G-series, Gibson mandolins to houses. And so I brought him on. He decided he wanted to do the whole temple with Japanese joinery using telephone poles. Went into the Japanese joinery shop in the Bay Area, which they have one, and the guy heard he was doing the temple and gave him like probably $3,000 in framing tools and chisels and things like that. You're doing the temple, you get to have this. As well, people started attaching themselves to the project. We were given this house in Oakland, and my friend Josh, who lives in Talent now, he said, hey, I want to be part of this, I got time. And so I brought him on as the head carpenter. We got an email from this rando from Italy who was like, my grandmother just died, I'm coming, I'll be there in a few days. And so I put both of them in this house saying, hey, we got this house in the Oakland Cut, you guys can live there, it's about 5 blocks from the build site. And out of this project, they met, they lived together, they didn't know each other, they fell in love, they got married, they moved up here, we had kids within a month of each other. Now they have 3 kids and live above Talent, Oregon, and it's just really beautiful to think about how many sort of like cascading impacts this has had. We have people who created whole careers. I have a really good architect friend who was our architect for it, and it has just really impacted so many people and so many friendships and so many relationships, where whole families have been started, businesses have been started after it, like skill sets have been built. And all of that in that 6 months of pre-build and on-playa work is just to think about the impact it's had on so many people's lives is pretty profound.
Absolutely. The connections that we make out there, they're just aren't words for what can come from that space. So what was your playa magic moment? All the blood, sweat, and tears are done. You walk away from the temple, you turn around, you see the first people walk into it and interact with it. Just walk us through that a bit.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, it was almost a fist fight. That kind of caused me to say, okay, it's done. It's a really hard thing to let go of. My collaborator, Shrine, the artist, really uses art as a way to process his own internal, I don't say demons, but his own internal like drive. And so he was really reluctant. I don't think ever really fully let go of it until we were physically lighting it on fire. I decided, like Tuesday of the event, we finally opened it up to the public. And to watch that, all of a sudden you are literally going from, this is my life, my whole life, my identity, my baby, all our babies, let's turn it over, and then watching it be fully imbued by that public input in the form of offerings and written prayers, and just completely altered the entire structure in a really beautiful way, in chaotic way. I think one of the magic moment was, for me, was, there was so many. There was a lot, but there was 400 people on the second floor, all on one side watching the sunrise, and not a wobble. So we realized we kind of over-engineered it and overbuilt it. So we quickly realized a match wasn't going to bring this thing down, and we brought in some demolitions experts who were on the playa and tried to figure out how can this thing fall. And so the day of the burn, we took out all the metal supports that were buttressing the framing. We chainsawed about 3/4 of the way through the trees, or the telephone poles. We asked Dean Camps, do you have any random flammables, and brought in like 50 gallons of naphtha, who knows what, and started loading it all up in the bottom. And then we brought in literally other installations to put inside the temple to burn, because it's a big, large cavernous space. And then we designed a burn plan that included fuel loading with gasoline and diesel on different piles within it that would ignite the structure, and had a very careful, okay, we're putting fuel here, and then we have 10 people with torches, and you go light here, 5 steps, drop your thing right there. Very carefully orchestrated. We had a very eager temple crew member who's the godfather of my kid and runs one of the owners of Symbiosis Festival, who decided what we really needed to do was just get as much fuel as possible. So we went in there with a 2 25-gallon diesel things right before we were walking in with torches, and just kind of like threw it everywhere. So our burn plan was out the window, and we go in there with our torches, full silence, 60,000 people, I think at the time maybe 40,000 people around us waiting, and we literally just had to toss our torches in and burn down. It took about an hour and 20 minutes in a full dust storm with 25 ancestors blowing off the flames. Whiteout conditions, but you could still see the temple burning for it to fall. And I remember listening to the radio traffic, and DPW was pretty sure they wanted to just chain it up and pull it down, and saying, we gotta get this fucker down. There's no way, we're just gonna lit up all things and chain it and pull it down. And Crimson Rose saying, stop, you're not going to touch it like that. It needs to fall on its own. This is what people need to see. They don't need to see butt rockers pulling down the temple. So they let it burn. It did. The next day, quickly, people are sorting through it for knickknacks and mementos, and the stuff we've been able to pull out of it with melted glass and metal and all the different. People get on it like locusts and start pulling out all this stuff. And at the end of it, it's just kind of bulldozed into a giant pile, loaded up into the back of dump trucks, taken about 20 miles away, and dropped in a hole in Soldier Meadow. That's what happens with burns on the playa. So it turns into a very fraught logistical function in a lot of ways, and so the behind the scenes part was pretty interesting to watch, but it served its purpose for sure.
And when it comes to legacy, after performing this build, how did it affect you personally? How did it affect you creatively? And how did it affect you professionally moving forward after that experience?
Yeah, I kind of describe it as having your heart scooped out with a melon baller to build that kind of thing, and then watch it burn. At the same time, you have to burn it, right? It doesn't belong to you anymore. It's necessary for so many people to see it go up. There's no going back once you start building it. But it was really, it was traumatic. Not the burn so much, but just all that lived experience and all of it, and then what's left, right? A pile of ashes, and that's a great lesson for life if you really want to get into not being attached to things. But I left quickly after the project had wrapped up, a few weeks after the burn, and went to Southeast Asia for a couple months so I could go through Cambodia and Laos and Thailand just to see how real temples were. done and got to go to Angkor Wat, you know, and just mess around there and just kind of understand what sort of legacy we've been a part of. It gave me a lot of chance to think about what I wanted the legacy of that to be for me personally, and I realized at that point I'd kind of graduated from Burning Man as an event. My first graduation, I've been back since, but my first graduation happened in '08, and I realized I wanted to use everything I'd learned and the connections I'd built to do it kind of in the real world. And so when I got back to Portland, I started my first nonprofit, and it was called the PDX Bridge Festival. There were a number of the downtown bridges that were celebrating their centennial, so 100 years old, and I convinced, based on having done the Temple project, the county to let me have the bridges for like 2 weeks and do stuff on them. And we were able to put art and projection screens up and change it into kind of this liminal public space. And then the finale being they shut down the bridge for a day and let us create a park. So we put down 50,000 square feet of sod, trees, picnic tables, food trucks, and turned it into a place where people could literally sit down in the middle of the Hawthorne Bridge on grass and share food. And that was really, really cool. You know, after that, they said, hey, you seem crazy enough to try to turn Last Thursday on Alberta to write the production book for Last Thursday on Alberta and turn it into a public permitted event. I think, you know, after the Temple, I started getting hired to do festival logistics, so running all the heavy machinery and stage design and the construction crew and the build, the procurement, the logistics, power, water, sanitation, all the stuff for about 10 years. And then realized after, kind of during Katrina, but then, when climate action was starting to come up, that it was a one-to-one skill set with disaster relief and recovery that I had built. I mean, disasters and festivals are kind of the same thing in reverse, where you have the Maslow hierarchy of needs for people and you're trying to meet them. It's displaced populations, and some people pay for that privilege of being displaced and entertained by DJs, and others have no choice. So in 2020, when the Alameda fires came through, I realized that this was an opportunity that, to lend my skill set to that, and so I founded my second nonprofit, which is kind of blown up and does a lot of stuff today in sort of community wildfire resilience. It's called Firebrand Resiliency Collective, and we organize communities across Jackson, Josephine County to kind of be the owners of their own sort of adaptation to wildfire and kind of meet needs in the face of all this kind of climate collapse and wildfire threats that we're facing. So it's been a very important step as I moved into that work and have continued to do it since, but maybe not like burning it all down, but keeping things from burning down, I'd say.
Life is duality. Well, Tucker, I really appreciate you taking us through the journey. If anyone was inspired to bring art to the playa, whether it was on an honoraria level or aspiring to do a bigger project, I know that temples and actual man bases are only offered to people who have done honoraria art. So somebody who's considering bringing art to the playa, what advice would you have for them?
Well, I mean, I'd say any amount of expression that you can put into the world is great, and whether it's small or whether it's really big. But no matter what it is, just think through the steps. Paint done, paint success for yourself. What is it going to look like, and what's going to meet your own sort of like need to do that, to create that physical expression. And then start reverse engineering it. I guess that's kind of this weird brain thing I have of being able to like reverse engineering success into its intricate steps. If anyone is doing it, I have some really great spreadsheet templates that can help you think through that kind of stuff. But go from the top to the bottom and think about every physical part of it, from the crown at the top to the screws to the dimensions, whatever it is. Just make sure you think all the way through it and know what you're getting yourself into. Otherwise, that's how art projects fail, is people don't necessarily think about the minutiae and the details enough to understand what's needed in order to make it successful. And make sure you're surrounding yourself with good people. and make sure that at the end of it, those relationships are able to be strengthened rather than undermined. Not asking too much for people, not asking someone to do something you wouldn't do is really important. And being able to, it's kind of how I got into, like, I was never a public speaker before the temple, and every day for a month on the playa, as our temple crew grew and grew, I had to motivate the troops. And it became something really not just something I had to do, but something I got to do. And so build a good crew and elevate the people that are helping you into positions of leadership so they can bring their own expressions to the playa. And the last thing I'd say is just in one of those motivational speeches, as we, about a week before the event, we decided to do a full Thanksgiving dinner for the crew with all the turkey and trimmings and the whole thing. I don't know why, which is hard, but we did it. And this guy, Chris Wunderlich, who used to live here in Ashland, really, and I was like, I can't speak tonight, man. And he's like, I can do it. And he said something that just was so profound. He's like, remember that what you're creating is incredibly important for a lot of people. You will and may have people, you're going to have people get married here. You're going to have people give their most, like sort of sacred object to this and watch it burn. But you're also going to probably have a person who may have finally, after 10 years, reconnected with their dad and brought him to the playa. And now he's bringing his dad's ashes back in a box. And you have to be able to hold space for that and build something that's worthy of that kind of thing. So whatever you're doing as far as your art and your expression out there, make sure that it's worth the type of interaction you're going to create for the public, and that be intentional in that.
I'm not crying, you're crying. So, I really appreciate everything you had to say. Thank you for creating a container for all that love and all that grief, and just being you and coming here to participate with us today. I want to thank the Southern Oregon Burners crew and Aurora and White Rabbit as well. And we can open it up to the audience for any questions they might have for you.
Totally. Thanks for having me here on my hungover Saturday. Anybody? Also fine tonight.
What kind of temple would you build in Ashland?
Oh man, well that 2007 the tea temple we built is now my chicken coop out in Talent, above Talent. So if anyone wants to come rescue it, it's about to collapse. When the public art at the in front of the library, the bicycle rack went up, I was definitely thinking about trying to do something there. I think one of the things I learned, from building this is that I wouldn't build something so phallic. I think that the temples that have come after us have been really amazing in their design to be a little bit less, traditional. Yeah, build it tall, build it strong, build it rod-like. I think Ashland could use. I don't know that we need to necessarily build anything new. We have pretty good density here, but what we need to build is more crucibles for public interaction in the stuff that maybe we already do have, right? Like, so thinking about things like the band shell, or thinking about places that already exist, how can we invite more participation, more contribution to those spaces in a way? I think with the bike path and the Black Lives Matter sort of things that was happening there for a couple of years with the names is really important, kind of gets to it. I think we just need to figure out how we can take over what we already have and allow it to flourish and really demonstrate our values and our beliefs as a community.
Any other questions? It's just because you were so thorough.
I know. I tend to try to cover the bases.
Well, thank you for your time. It was really a pleasure. We're done.
All right.
any of you pre-burners or have not burners or nervous to burners will go through their whole schism with their group. They had their new burners, and their old. They didn't want you showing up on Playa without the whole long list of stuff that you're going to need, because then you're going to ask for it from them. And they were like, which I am a traveler, so I don't really worry about things, which is helpful. But I got out to the burn, and I found a slip and slide. And I was slipping and sliding all over this slip and slide at this camp, and everybody was anyways. So I was having the best time ever. And best time, was totally, connected through friends, through friendship, take days. You keep looking for each other and missing each other, and they're lasting impressions, and I kind of got to share my story through the various moments of my burn. I'm like, I didn't bring anything. I'm one of those people who don't have anything, and there were that I just don't like anymore. But I don't want to just give it to anyone. I want to give it to someone who's going to use it, someone who really needs it, someone who's going to love it like I loved it, and make all these friends. I gain all these beautiful adornments, and there definitely were times at Burning Man, any sort of expressive, format. Burning Man is anything but fro. Make it your own, and make your own way. And so, flowing from my first burn into the following, sing a little line from this one song that the camp leads were really fond of. They're from Europe. There's something beautiful about that, because you really get to see the soft underbelly of a lot of camps, and how they introduce people, how they bring people in, because that it is a hard part of it. You're trying to take care of yourself, so to make other people feel welcome is a lot of extra effort, and it's beautiful. Burner that you talk to that does the pre-burn, they all have this very religious experience of the whole city, going from 0 to 100 and then back down again. It's such a rhythmic, kind of deep going on, and I just kind of forgot. And years go by, and I ended up moving to Portland. And in Portland, I met some really beautiful burners, and they invited me to go to Burning Man. We went to the Renegade, and the Renegade was my reunion with the Playa, and we had so much fun. And because it was the Renegade, we were able to have that very kind of intrinsic, involved experience, because there wasn't really any schedules or anything. So whatever you wanted to do, voila, you could do it. You could do that at Burn these years too, but it was a special time for sure. And I just fell in love with the Playa again. And so I've been going every year, making the pilgrimage down. And my other piece of advice for those who feel stressed out by burn, or feel like, their first burn is just too much for them to take on, try not to plan on Burning Man super early. Let your life happen, and don't let it consume all of your time, but have moments where you kind of sink into it and then let it go again, and let Burning Man happen at the time that it's happening, because I feel like people can get trapped in the stress loop of wanting to be completely prepared. And like I was saying before, over preparing is taking away from your opportunity to interact and meet people and ask for favors and work together. And so just as a little cap for my talk, this year I got to be a part of Gypsy Monkey Nebula. It was an amazing group. I was so honored to get to be included. My lovely friend Alicia, I was having a year where I was like, I just get so stressed about Burning Man, and it becomes such a big, weight. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And my friend was like,
well, I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna wave my little wand and pave your path. And I was like, all right, sister, let's do this. And she opened a space in her really special camp. Some people might also know it's a secret tuna camp. Ba, ba, ba.
Tuna?
Woo. Yeah.
They don't exist.
They don't exist. They retired a long time ago. And so I was at this lovely camp, and I got to just be kind of, I don't know, I sunk into this very family group. Like I've had, being the new person in a lot of different camps and flowing from a lot of different spaces and that they originate from, getting to be in a Southern Oregon camp and surrounded by people that like I knew and knew me, and we had like these, you know, the history together. It was so sweet. And it was also my first time burning with some little kids. And that was awesome. Like just, especially on the rainy days, like nothing beats a rainy day stuck at home with little kids who just want to play games and just, you know, sing all the karaoke songs. And, you know, we ate all the yummy food, and Mom was awesome, and I just had a really great burn with my camp. And I definitely, you know, one thing that I'll throw out for my last little tidbit: if you're going to camp with people who know you and care about you, and you know you're going to disappear for a large period of time, you have to let them know ahead of time, because not everybody understands that you know, your schedule. So over communication is the key. It gets hard out there on the playa. You know, we're out there, there's a million things going on, sidetrack city, you know, you're going this way, you're going that way. I mean, there's no such thing as the clock, right? You kind of have to just let it go. But definitely in camping with your friends and in, you know, any sort of leadership role or anything, the more that you can communicate, the more that you can just lay out all of the things beforehand, you know, and just like, you know, be vulnerable. Let's go there. Pierce the shame. And you know, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to burn together and feel that that connection, that community, that family that we all crave. So I guess, you know, that's kind of my story. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate you. Is there any questions that anyone wants to ask me? Or are we gonna sit right here? Okay.
Can you turn your pants level down just like a couple colors?
They came out. Oh, I gave away all the signing classes.
Those are awesome, man.
All I can say is behave.
Yeah.
Because I can.
You're not gonna get better by that.
He has offered to protect me because I have.
All he had today. I love hanging with you, dude. Yeah, I'm colorblind.
Alright. I am Cupid, and I'm here to talk about large art installations. bit about the Trojan Horse and the Alien Siege Machine since I burned them both. Most people build art. For me, they ask me to burn it, which is a great thing. See the Alien Siege Machine on the far, right? We see an angel blessing the Trojan Horse and performing the wedding. And that was me in 2019. I've burned since 2010 to 2019. Skipping from. And the main piece of my presentation is immediacy. The 10th principle. The one that Larry had to go out and come up with because he only had 9. And they said, we want 10. So he said, okay, I'll do it immediately. Now, the Trojan Horse, I got this certificate because I got 2nd and 3rd degree, or I'm sorry, that was the Alien Siege Machine evening. I got 2nd and 3rd degree burns from my campmate up my leg. He threw a fireball getting into my fuel. So he went from Wild Bill Hiccup to Dildo Douche Baggins. Okay. Something I absolutely recommend on playa, especially virgins or long-term burners, and you can look at them if you wish. These are all postcards that I've sent back to myself using the post office. Right? And even this year, Tyrus carried some out and sent them to me. Now, they mentioned other regional burns, and this is one of my favorite, the pagan bunny burn. Woo! Right? There's nothing like hearing 150 children screaming, burn the bunny. It's a 50-foot tall metal welded bunny. Burn the bunny!
And my friends Sunshine and Chuckles do it every year. And it's the weekend before, or the week before Easter, for obvious reasons. All right. So let me take off my jacket. And we'll give, yeah, baby, I'm getting warmed up. And please break out your sunglasses, because y'all need them. They put in more light on these things. All right, where are we going? That way. Notice anything in the clouds?
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Or Burning Man upside on the side? That was my greeting when I got there in 2019. And I was not in a happy mood. This is the photo that I took the night before I burned the Trojan Horse. And you'll see the vantage. You'll also see the Temple of Transition in the back. And you can see all kinds of little fun. Anybody got the Alien Siege Machine? TASM? Okay. That's what we're going to be talking about a little bit. Thing. There we go. Now, believe it or not, this gentleman over here is my father. He's a retired nuclear chemist, and he lives in Los Alamos, New Mexico. I got him to come out in 2014. He was 72. And Fed's been all up his butt, so you can, since 78. He's now 82. I just called him for his birthday. But he helped me burn the Alien Siege Machine. Okay? Immediacy. A guardian had asked me in the temple to go get some things that they had cut out so people could ride on them. I instantly ended up in a wedding. So I whipped out my phone and recorded and blah, blah, blah. There we go. So again, immediacy. This gentleman was from my camp. He helped build the octopus that was out there, the Kraken, in that particular year.
Oh, is that the one that had the jet engine in it?
I don't know. And then that's me, but you can see in the reflection his art project that we bought for our camp. All right, so you get an idea of what people are doing out there. This kiddo is Squirt. He's been a junior ranger. He's burned from the first year of his life, and he's now, I guess, 20.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's missed a couple burns, and in 2014 I took him out. We got ticketed on the road coming in, and that's a whole different story. These guys over here, one of them you can probably all recognize as Danger, right? And it's a whole set of Rangers. Right, and actually the one on the far right is Painless Work's father. Because I got involved and I decided to do some immediacy in 2012 was when I started doing decompressions, pre-compressions, and ski compressions. We'd take over Mount Rose Ski Resort, and I've actually done the shoots in my kilt. This is my puka lounge, one of the many camps that I've been to. Will and Atlas have met them. Reasonable group. Don't tell them I said that. There we go. This is right before I watched or witnessed a CEO of a rocket company get elected on quiet. So again, involvement, right? Cats. Just a couple other people. He was on both, Shannon was on both the Alien Siege and the Trojan Horse as a band member. Okay. Again, coming from Decompression, one of my favorite flaming artists, those are actually welded together salad bowls wrapped in wick. Right. Kid's good. Really.
What's inside?
Huh?
What's inside?
Nothing. They're hollow. They're just koi wrapped in the wick.
Okay.
Again, try to do everything you can. Make a bucket list. If you do, I don't do that. But that's the greeter that I got placed when I actually was the first to get grab camp in 1 year. So, an experience I think everyone should have. That's looking out, unfortunately, Elon Musk's first art car that a friend of mine has. He works for him, unfortunately, or did, was a friend. And then that's at the French Quarter. That is my squire, and that is one of our campmates. I can't remember what her name is. It's not Dust. And the maids really suck at they're really bad. The silt is everywhere. Right? You'll see that my Tahoe Tessie's in there. You'll see her show up. All right. So just different campmates. These two girls over here, my boss when I was at Yahoo, and my peers put it out on FaceCrack, but he came up with Cupid as my handle. And he said, you're riding around on a horse shooting flaming arrows at people. He got a half right. I was shooting flaming arrow at the horse. But these two girls, the one on the right, she's actually a dom. And I didn't know that. And I enslaved her because I asked her to go down to Athens and get a toga, and her girlfriend and her girlfriend's boyfriend, and pull out the Trojan horse for her. But it sort of mind tripped her. But the two girls together, they came out with a spelling. They're like, you're a 6 foot tall Spartan. You're not the guy in diapers. So you have to spell it QPID. So that's the whole story of how Cupid came about. Right? This was 2019 after my accident, and I'm still suffering from the TD in right side. But I found, afterwards I came back, this was a precursor that I am a member permanently of the Goddess of the Never Unbroken. And she rides around on that alligator. So I threw it in just for the story, right? But that was 2019. A dear friend, Free Palestine. Stop genocide, please. He had gifted me that particular hat. Bliss, everybody's seen. I just liked it because it looked like the baby had just been conceived.
Yeah.
Right? That was my second burn, and I saw that, and it just struck me. We're back to the horse. Alright? So, if you don't know, that temple of transition, and I believe it's still in the Guinness Book of World Records, as the oldest freestanding structure, or not the oldest, sorry, the largest freestanding structure on the planet. No nails, no foundation, no anything. And you'll see it in a minute. That's where I took the picture. Again, immediacy, when I got to the burn, I helped them construct that. Right? We did a land rush for about 100 by 80 place, and then they were building that in the morning. And I ended up climbing up that to take that picture, and there was a wedding that had just completed. And they were like, come on up! There you go. Now if you see, there's some round circles, some donuts over here. Those are all kerosene. The first 6 arrows, there were two troops on each side of 5 archers apiece. And my friend Artemis, Nina, was to hit the breastplate. So each of those were to look like it was dripping blood of fire, right, when we hit. And if you really can't see because it's a little washed out, but that is my doppelganger Doug, another Doug, that helped build it. And there's actually a documentary, but I didn't have a DVD. He's about 6'4". Okay? The wheels on it are 6 foot tall. Right? 50 foot tall horse. It was 24 foot wide and 40 foot long. And I wish I had told him to get a slide out the tail for the exit. You would actually climb up and down the back legs. I said I would talk about the sligs. So I actually bet some money on the playa that 500 slaves couldn't pull this to the burn spot. 250 of them picked up the ropes and ran without supervision. The Rangers and DPW finally got them stopped, and after a lot of thought, they were able to get it into the right way. And they had to sort of push it with one of the scissor lifts, but you know. But they ran with it. So this was part of my armor. I had a license to carry the bow and arrows on playa, and I have a fake sword that's there that you can see. So you don't see that very often, right? The only those guys with the handcuffs. Yeah. Whoops. Maybe I did. Anyone want to guess? You're looking at the arrow.
The arrow.
Right? We had to put a cone around the tip, and then the poi wadding is behind it.
So
right?
that's lit inside?
So you would like this section.
Yes, yes.
And
the outer thing's the sheath around it.
So that's just a shield to keep it while it moves through the air so it can stay lit.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right? And I'll explain a little bit more about those in a second. Now, when I say lightning shot at me, I refer you to look at the back of your tickets. It says severe injury or death. Right? I'm about 6'2". I've got a full red cape, and I've got the breastplates and helmet and the whole thing. You see the mortar over there? When Nina first hit, the breastplate, it burned faster than we expected. So it got to some of the mortars, and it shook. And some of the mortars that were pointed up the skylight were pointed at us on the playa.
Oh.
Right? So that's the baby. It was pretty. I was closer than the sandbaggers. I had to run past them after we dropped some safety stuff. We had to run past them to get out to the fire line. Right? I kind of remember it. Now that's Zeus, my squire, and me. Every archer came with a squire. The girl next to me was my neighbor's girlfriend. She's a Chinese Olympic archer. Whoa. And so we had fun. I didn't include that. Now this gentleman is responsible for that contraption. And the Alien Siege Machine and Anubis, if you saw that. And there's a few others he's done. Something Hello Kitty or something Kitty, I don't remember. Anyway, this was the day that I got to meet him. He was tending the fire so that things would drop off. He also was looking at, when he put the mortars in place, he lost a medallion that was part of this. There was only like 6 or 20 medallions that the high level staff got. Right? He found it. Wow. He found it even through all of the fire. And his name is Dan Fox. Now this handsome crew, I mentioned my doppelganger Dougie. There's Zeus, a dear friend of mine up from Seattle. And this gentleman, he's a retired commander for the Coast Guard. He was in Vietnam on board his cutter, and they were shooting flaming arrows into the Viet Cong. So that's how he came about this. So he was the head archer, and I was dressed like this with a playa girlfriend that wanted to see, and we were walking down the Esplanade. Now so much silt's getting underneath all the armor that I have on that I can't stop, right? I'm like, run ahead, get your picture as I approach, because I can't stop. But it was so much fun, and she was completely baffled because we had the crew. This is the 10-year anniversary. So this would have been, or 5-year anniversary. Okay, the end of the Trojan horse. That's the wheel. And to get the wheels to roll, they brought out huge Crisco jugs, and every one of the axes was just completely coated in Crisco. All right. This is a tiny one. It's only 40 foot tall. And I actually did get down to NIMBY and built some of the tracks. And I blew out, this is 2014, I blew out my back, which I'm part of the accident still giving me crud, because I saved Dan Fox from getting crushed. He had a bunch of things to build it around there, and then we had to lower those platforms. So, yeah, it happens. And again, this is my crew from the Hookah Lounge and Snafu Bar, and Tool in the middle was part of the band. I also had one of my girlfriends, she was a unicorn on here, and there was a dance party, and there was a bunch of scientists that said, don't burn this thing, don't open it, don't mess with the aliens. It's full of eggs, alien eggs in the bottom, if you crawled in. And so they're like, and the hippy dippies, you know, the very spiritual people are like, let's open it. And I got to meet Zuckerberg that day. Sorry, I've turned down Google and Meta and Apple. I was strategic planning at Cisco Systems. I build shit. So that's me, right? Notice that it's very much like an old movie, black and white. That's the belly of the Alien Siege Machine. Like I said, my father is a nuclear chemist. I got to Los Alamos in '78. Again, I just love that picture of it. It's just so clean. You see the turret, the tank turret down in the bottom, right? And that's the whole piece. And I used to have, and we'll see in a minute, but there's a disc right here and they shined a halogen lamp through it, and it put a 20-foot circle on the playa of the alien siege machine.
That's awesome.
And there were 6 discs, and I had one, but I put it in the temple. Oh, sorry. Now, he had just completed his mission. This is my father. He's wearing my tutu. It's obviously Tutu Tuesday. And we're standing in front of this thing, and I'm talking to Dan, and just doing a run through of what we've got going on. And he said, would your dad like to burn this thing with you and be on the infantry? 72 years old, 13 that fast. Literally the time of his life. And because he had the feds up his butt for so long, he was worried, and I explained it to him. If there's a couple gay guys walking down the playa and they're smoking a joint, does it bother you? And he goes, no. And I go, okay, if they come over and they want you to smoke it or they're grabbing your butt, different story. And it clicked him in, right? These are places we can talk to people. But he turned to a 12-year-old boy when this showed up, because Dan showed us this. And you have to cut off the top. That was for the very front. But we had 2 packs of 9 Roman candles apiece. So we had Gatling guns of mortars to shoot at it. And we had, I don't know, there's probably 30 people on each side, or maybe 20, I don't know. And like I said, that was from the front, but it was quite a thrill. Now, what my father did say, you know that playa, it has a nice breeze, if I remember correctly. And my father noticed that if we would shoot off into the breeze, we could hit it. Because we weren't supposed to be able to hit it. That was the plan, to light it later. But we were arching into it, right? Just the way we are. But anybody want a nuclear scientist on speed dial? I have one. It is kind of a weird thing. So when we're seeing where they're shooting up where I said the disc was, right? That was where the upper piece of that particular Gatling gun came from, right? They were using it from the front. And you can see the man in back. It was kind of cool. Now, I mentioned the Temple of Transition. My 2010, Flux was the temple, and I didn't quite get it. And some wonderful rangers put my little brother in the temple for me. And I put him in every one. This thing, it was amazing. And I think somebody had a piece of art earlier with some sculptures that said the playa was part of it. I believe they put those, some similar ones, like all around it. Very foul. Okay, temple. The guy on the right is Harry Rico. He's the original green dot of all the Rangers. As far as I know, he had full access to speed just like the BLM to get to people, right? And he taught me about the homeless. And Doug Tripp, in 2016, my first year sober, he and Monster said, you're a veteran burner. Why are you shaking and freezing? I only planned to go for 4 days, and it was a last minute deal because I was too close to my stopping 40 years of drinking. So, 2 folks. There we go. Temple burning, just for fun. And since everybody got to show this, it's amazing when you do spontaneity and you just say yes. Say yes in life. Right? Most people, they walk around, no, I can't do that. If you learn to say yes, you will get into some interesting situations. Her bottom was tanned by Tammy. You had seen her earlier in the black dress with Tessie. And you can thank Salami and Tyrus for involving this picture. Okay, I mentioned that I had myself put into the temple this year. Okay, the jacket, Cupid, the vest, that tattoo, or was the tattoo on Rico, the green dot. And I built that while I was in there, but you can see it. And you can see the disc from the Alien Siege machine. And then it's the art car we had in 2019. Before the end, we're blasting off. And that's it. You guys have any questions? Want to see anything else?
So in the Trojan horse, you said the holes are the fire arrows.
What?
The holes in the side of the Trojan horse were designed to have fire.
Oh, those were not holes. Those are bags of kerosene.
Hey, good thought. Okay. But so when you burned it, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, wait, a quick question. Do you have a score of actually how many arrows hit the mark to light it up?
So I mentioned my
this
neighbor.
Is just a random little thing.
Yeah. No. So I mentioned my neighbor. His name's Dan, and his girlfriend was a Chinese Olympic archer. He states that I didn't hit because he's one of the squires behind us, right? He can watch. And I had the first of my troops. I was the leader of it. I think he's correct because remember how I said Nina, when Artemis shot the first arrow and it started burning and it shook. And so I do not know how many missed, but they would not have gone up and over the crowd.
Something hit.
Well, we had to shoot up wires.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, 75,000 people. I shoot up and over.
That would be hard.
Yeah, no, I could easily do it. And when I talk about immediacy, I almost didn't get to burn the Trojan horse. There was an email that came out from a camp and said, hey, we need some archers. Anybody want to volunteer? So I said yes, and I hadn't shot since scouting since I was a kid. And because I wasn't looking at my spam folder, check your junk folders, I barely caught it. And when I did, I went and grabbed a bow and I went and flung about 800 arrows in it.
I'm back.
Right? I wanted to be prepared. But I don't care if I missed or hit. It doesn't matter if I sinned to miss the mark in archery term. And did I answer about that?
Yeah. That was epic. That was an epic time. It was so cool. Yes, thank you.
I wish I had the pictures. There was a National Geographic photographer that was shooting me with all my regalia on, with that in the background. I've never seen those. And then in 2014, again, immediacy, one of the Rangers was dying of cancer, and the org gave his son a ticket. He flew into Reno and was staying at the Morris. So I got a big dually Toyota, or had, and I was already going to take Squirt, the guy that's burned forever. He was a junior ranger at 14, so he was with us. The ranger's son is with us, and I said, I got one more seat. Find somebody worthy that needs a ride out. It ended up being an editor for National Geographic, and I stopped taking photos pretty much around 12. We started it back about 18, but he wanted me to take him to all the art installations and help him do the right kind of photography for it, which was wonderful. Now we got deep playa. We were out looking for Daft Punks or something by the art fair. I don't know. But we were deep playa, and all of a sudden a Mobe comes in, and you can just see the wall of silt. So I get him all as a virgin. I get him in goggles and a mask. And then all I've got, and I was gonna wear them, but these little red spectacles that they call them Night Stalkers or something, I think from some movie. And I've just got a bandana that's silk. And he's like, how are you in this? I'm like, I've been here so long, this stuff's coming out my skin. And what amazed him was I could take him directly to the camp. that even in a full whiteout, I had my compass inside that I could go directly to the camp. So, it is possible. I wouldn't do it so much now with my TBI, but any other questions? Uh-oh, COVID's coming. Oh no, it's a plague.
Last call from the bar. Last call for alcohol. Make sure you tip your waiters and waitresses and your bartenders.
Any more projects planned?
Right now, I'm not going. Again, I should not have gone in 2019. If you know Tahoe, I lived in Incline Village, and I was leaving the chutes of Mount Rose into my village, and I was hit. They knocked the axle off my Tundra. So, there was a German couple in our DJ camp called the Bureau of Hindsight. Oh, it was supposed to be for 2020. 2019. Bureau of Hindsight. But they introduced me to a wonderful molecule that DJs enjoy that is a disassociative, so I could get around without the pain. And I couldn't climb anything. So at this point, I'm going to say no. That's kind of why I put myself in the temple this year, because I don't know that I'll return. My body is just, even being here is hard enough. That it? Going once, going twice. Any other pictures you want to see? The girls. The girl. These guys. The slaves. Let's see, what else? There. So that's Tammy. If you ever get to lay over a lazy boy for her, she'll take care of you. You might wish you hadn't done it. Thank you. And if you guys want to look at any of the cards.
I'd love to see those. Wait, did you write messages to yourself? Am I able to read those?
I have about 80% of those flyers that I'm also working on. Another project that's a bunch of flyers and tickets and a whole Instagram that's dedicated to our local music scene, because we have enough books written about the political campaigns that came through here on the railroads, right here by Ace Hardware to, I don't know if you guys are aware, the Beach Boys and Chuck Berry and all them played at SOU back in the day too. So I talked to within people I asked in the community or joined Facebook groups that had that history, and just blows me away. I'm like, oh wow, I have found my niche here in what I'm doing, especially with this, Burning Man community, and Rihanna adopted me into this last year, and having you guys write a story on a beautiful event that just blew my mind, and the free stuff you get. I got this jacket, taking this free glasses. Shoot, I'm gonna be wearing this forever, and it's just these great moments and memories. Sean, you putting this all together, what a blessing, because we don't have this in our community. Of course, we have our, conferences on human trafficking and other stuff, but for us and in these times that we're in, it's just beautiful to hear everyone's talks on art when we're being attacked. Bansky art getting taken down by the government. What happened to the self-expression of photography, to paintings, to murals, to vandalism, to wars, and now it's more prevalent than ever. I don't go on a tangent, but the art of all this is within us. So do not forget to share your art, no matter if you think it's bad. You may inspire a little kid or something. Just don't forget what is deep inside and rooted within you when you look within, because you can pull something deep in your heart to make it shine. And that's kind of where I'm at with my photography of, oh wow, I have this. So it's official. I am releasing a book at some point next year, and this is the drafted out cover. These are all my photos from over the last probably 10 years that I've...
Is this the official drop?
The official announcement and drop for this book. That is 10 years, not 10 years, more like 4.5 years in the making that I've been telling my aunts and uncles and cousins all about. Hey, I'm doing this, working on this. There will be a Kickstarter campaign out hopefully the next couple of weeks. Sean, I'll send you all that and we'll get that going. But a Kickstarter campaign to hopefully publish about 100 to 200 books, limited edition, numbered and everything. And they will probably be sold at a few stores to be known at a different date through Ashland, Ashland.
So called The Fan Perspective, 2015 to 2025, 10 years of Rogue Valley music scene, photos in the crowd. Photos taken at shows and concerts from Ashland to Grants Pass through my camera by Sinjin Shakali.
So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in here that I know I wanted to kind of show some photos, but they're going to be in the book, and just a lot of really cool photos that I don't think people have seen, because a lot of these people who lived here have moved away or were not at those shows, or they were college students that showed up, and I didn't realize what I had until I started looking within. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff, and that's more opportunities that's brought my way. Is I've actually had the pleasure of being able to promote local shows. I promoted this today. I have promoted probably over 150 to 160 music events here in Ashland to Grants Pass, doing professional flyer distribution for that. And it's been a blessing being able to take my friend who's here front row at the Armory for Julian Marley and getting guest list passes for doing that work, and then capturing photos through my my phone. And you know, we all have these small moments in life, and you guys want to keep dreaming big. I want you guys to remember something and take away from this is, please live in the present moment. And this is what it's kind of shown me today. Perfect example of, oh, you're supposed to go on at 4 o'clock. Now it's 5 o'clock. Well, you know what? It just showed me to sit back, relax, and enjoy more about Burning Man culture in the playa. And just our own community. We have our own stance in everything that's going on. And I would love to keep seeing these events going, make them bigger, have the art out here in the plaza, Lithia Park, or the other, 24 parks or something like that in Ashland. You were saying earlier on, bring art here and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we need more art. We need less of this computer-generated stuff that is taking away from, unfortunately, these videos that are being made, and Basquiat to Keith Haring to Warhol and all this other stuff that's being taken away from those artists and being copyrighted. And unfortunately, I wish here in the United States that more artists would get funding, or we would get some kind of payment for what we're doing. But now more than ever, unfortunately, it's kind of, you know, trickly lines, grants, you know, money, you need this, you need that kind of, you've talked about funding is one of the hardest things with all the getting money together for these wonderful pieces of art. Unfortunately, I'll probably never be able to go to the playa, but I lived through it, through the art. And one of my phone screen is a really cool photo that Rihanna sent me from this year's Burn. That's my lock screen. And I just lived through that of the DJ sets, the culture, and just the community is stronger than we ever have needed is now.
Yeah. And so what, in your 10 years of taking photographs of the Rogue Valley music scene, where do you see the scene today? Where's it going? Like, Do you think we're at a great place? Do you think art seems to be supported? You mentioned some clubs closed, but some clubs have opened. Like, what is your take on it?
That's a really good question, Sean, because it's funny. Me and my friend Kenyon, we were just talking about this the other day because we're doing some more events. Well, apparently, more people are going towards all the streaming stuff yet again. And we're trying to do more attentive and more purpose-driven shows next year to raise money for families that are struggling with what's going on in this world right now, to maybe even helping Rockefeller and Medford, who bring wonderful rock and metal shows and live music and open mic nights to our communities. And that's kind of where our goal is right now, not just to throw a show. Is it nice? Yes. There's an artist here tonight. He works so hard. We only see him twice a year. And it's just, I can see it hopefully thriving. I don't want this place to close. We need more art here. We need more music here. We need more live improv. We need everything. I know, people have their mixed opinions about OSF and everything. Why don't we just start at the ground level and rise up together?
Here.
Especially with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Cool, we did it. All right, well, probably the turnout wasn't as great as we thought. But what's most important is we're all together in this place of wonderful art and music and learning more about culture, art, and each other is and how I see art is because I love everybody, no matter what. And that's how it should be. We shouldn't be divided. We shouldn't be red, blue, blood, whatever. We need to be together as human beings and get to know each other and sit and have a conversation with someone and get to know them for who they are. Who cares about your party affiliation? Whatever happened to having a peaceful meal and just time of togetherness? Look at what we did here today with the soup. Okay, oh my gosh, the healthiest thing ever. All right? And just the blessings of the little things.
Yeah. I hope someday you could come to Burning Man. I know maybe some things prevent you from going, but it's a really nice environment where politics kind of goes on the shelf. We don't talk about politics. We don't. We just kind of don't judge each other, And it's a nice.
Yeah.
It's a
And
nice
that's how it should be, honestly. Every day of your life, because I have grown up with 18 cousins and aunts and uncles. 8 of them left Colombia legally and everything like that. And it's just a blessing that I have that in my life because my grandma, my mom's mom was a painter. I asked my mom, where do I get this photography from? She was like, your cousins. My cousin Jessica is a terrific painter. So I never really connected until recently. I'm like, okay, this runs deeper. Like they always say, look within. You never know what you're at in your life to who you're connected with your lineage, and just the importance of family. And that's where I'm always so thankful for you guys welcoming me into this, and your interest in my photography really means the world to me, Sean. It really does.
Well, Sid,
and for that,
you're a culture creator.
For that, this is for you, man. One of my own prints with a handwritten carded note that was taken at Sounderground in 2018. The same one that's right there. Those are from my Columbia hotel show that I had extras of. So I just want to gift you that as a thank you.
Columbia Hotel show in 2018.
That was from Sounderground. That was one of the ones I had up at
the Columbia Hotel.
And one of my prints, yeah.
Wow, thank you, Sid.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely helping foster the creative culture here in the area in Ashland. I'm appreciative of it. Getting the flyers up, promoting the shows, taking the photographs. and being connected to all the artists and the promoters and the event venue owners, and you know, a lot of people know you here, you know, and I think what you do is really important to fostering the long-term culture here.
Seriously, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's kind of where all my ideas have been centering around lately. Is, you know, I have all these flyers for the last 10 years. Well, what the heck? Why don't I just scan them and throw them in a book? So that's hopefully another potential thing, or maybe a flyer show at some point. But I am probably gonna, whenever everything comes together for a book release party and a venue space, there's going to be a binder that's full of those flyers that I have saved the last 10 years in shrink wrap, the plastic protectors, all protected for everyone to look at. So
does anyone in the audience have questions for Sinjin tonight? When is the book release?
No idea yet.
Party?
No idea yet. I was talking to Aurora a little bit ago about getting connected here to hopefully do something here.
Okay.
At some point next year, hopefully, get that figured out and pitched and get it all planned out and figure out what I need to do, and photos to be looked at, looked through, and printed, all 11 by 17. I am probably also here soon. I'm gonna hopefully have an idea for doing a nature show is in my peripheral too, of some nature shots at Lithia Park here and around Oregon. So I have a bunch of those from living here from 2015 till now. But that's more down the road, but that's more of, I love nature photography, music photography, and of course getting to document this and actually having the opportunity is this event I'm actually capturing for you guys, for Southern Oregon Burners, but I'm also capturing it for Ashland.news, so there's be a little gallery happening or a news story. I haven't seen a writer yet today, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a mini gallery to just encompass this whole experience into some photos later today, or within the next week or so.
And what's a good way to get in touch with you if people want to get in touch with you?
If you want my information, social media is at shawkphotos. I'm there, _95. That's pretty much it, really. I'm just super thankful, Sean. It's just very, what was I going to say?
Yeah.
Centered and very blessed and thankful that I'm here living and that God has given me this gift to share with you guys. I know there's not many people here, but it doesn't matter to me. It's the real people who show up, and I just genuinely appreciate people that I love and care for, and I want you guys to leave here walking around remembering you guys are all lights here. Continue to share the positivity, continue to share your art, and please do not forget to capture the photos that you're living in the moment, but you have that tangible moment of a photo that will last you a lifetime. Even if after you pass away and stuff gets donated somewhere, it will re-inspire someone else. So that's what I'll leave you all with.
We'll find your photos 80 years from now at 3 Penny Mercantile.
Well, it's funny you say that, Sean, is because I've actually talked to Dan about that before too.
Right on. Well, give a hand for Sinjin Shakali. For joining us. Coming to the speaker series today at White Rabbit. The party will keep going on till 2:30 in the morning, and by the way, it's daylight savings time, so 2 in the morning will become 1 in the morning tonight. Another hour for everyone to hang out, and thank you for all coming to White Rabbit, and we'll see you at Shrooms or Cooks tonight. So we are closing this portion. Good night.